boy just wanted to see the interior of the Ford Mustang, but a Ford executive spotted him and stopped him. Despite the boy's apology, the executive remained unforgiving and approached the boy's father, Leo, senior executive vice president of Ford Motor Company. He attempted to intimidate the father with his position, unaware that this was someone he shouldn't have provoked. This seemingly ordinary man was actually Miles, a top racing driver. He had been invited by Ford to help develop a premier race car, one that would compete against Ferrari at Le Mans. However, before the race, Ford was still attempting to acquire the nearly bankrupt Ferrari. Unexpectedly, Ferrari's president rejected them on the spot. Upon returning, Leo embellished the story when reporting to Ford's president. Though Ford showed no outward anger, he was determined to spare no expense in finding top engineers and drivers to build a race car that would surpass Ferrari. Ford immediately contacted car designer Shelby, the only American to have won the Le Mans championship. However, Shelby was struggling with heart problems at the time. After agreeing to work with Ford, he contacted his old friend Miles, a driver who understood both mechanical principles and possessed exceptional driving skills. Miles didn't refuse Shelby's invitation, and the two quickly reached an agreement. However, when Miles brought his son to a Ford event, he was immediately mocked by the arrogant Leo. Miles didn't bother arguing and simply left with his son to find Shelby. Leo had intended to build a relationship with Shelby, but was instead introduced to Miles. That evening, Shelby took Miles to test drive the GT40. After just 2 laps, Miles quickly identified problems. The steering was unresponsive, and torque wasn't being effectively transmitted. The next day, he further tested the car's stability and speed, even suggesting an engine replacement. Shelby followed Miles's advice and reduced the engine weight by 23 kilograms. Miles continued testing and making suggestions. Unbeknownst to him, Leo considered him arrogant and uncooperative. No matter how Shelby advocated for him, Leo insisted on replacing Miles. Shelby informed Miles of the news, but this time Miles chose to remain silent. The race results were soon revealed. Ferrari claimed victory again while Ford was eliminated. Ford's president harshly criticized Shelby, but Shelby seized the opportunity to expose the company's flaws. The failure stemmed from Ford's overly complex system. While the car's performance still lagged behind Ferrari's, the more serious problem was the driver. Shelby convinced Ford's president and was even granted full control of the racing team. He recalled Miles once again to rejoin the Ford team. Miles set aside his grievances and continued testing the GT40. However, that night, the GT40 encountered trouble, and Miles himself was involved in an accident.